Welcome. I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. From our BizVision studios in the UK, you're watching the BVTV network. Money is a challenge for all but the most wealthiest of us. And the COVID pandemic, economic woes, job losses, disruption, and more have all combined to likely make our bank accounts severely depleted, if not in negative. So let's try and lighten your load today and put some energy back into your financial situation. I'm taking you to meet the duo who have authored Money is an Energy Game. We'll first talk to Madeline Gerwick and then her co-author, Margaret Donahue. But let's go say hello, Madeline. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Malcolm. I'm excited to be here.
And, you know, we're talking here very early in the UK. This gobbles me sometimes. Then you're sitting there just after midnight in near Seattle. You know,
yes.
do you never go to bed?
I do, rather late.
rather late, yeah.
And, yeah, rather late.
Well, yeah, we all have our different ways, you know. Madeline, thanks for you and Margaret kindly coming to guest on BVTV, especially on a subject which is likely causing many people to have sleepless nights. Oh, sleepless in Seattle. Oh,
yes, that's right.
Sleepless nights at the moment, yet others to profiteer. In this talk show, I'll be chatting to both Madeline and Margaret across 4 parts, 2 parts each, so no favoritism. First part, I'll ask Madeline, what's the concept behind Money is an Energy Game? And then we'll talk about getting ready to win at the game. What preparation's necessary? I'll then say goodbye to her and go chat with Margaret for part 3, which will be about doing it or playing the game, and ask her to conclude in part 4 with how to keep it going. Oh, and at the end of each of the duo's chats, I'll ask them to choose just 2 of their favorites of the many tools from their book. So, Madeline, let's jump straight into part 1. What's the concept behind Money is an Energy Game? How did you and Margaret come to conceive it? And why do people need to grasp it?
Well, Peg and I normally call her Peg.
Right, yes.
Peg and I met through a prosperity training program. So we were both in training, learning these concepts. And this was a long time ago, like 20-some years ago. And in my company, Polaris Business Guides, we were looking for a feng shui consultant, and Peg does feng shui. So she ended up joining Polaris to work with our clients on helping them to prosper using the energy of their environment. And then we worked on creating a program called 8 Keys to the Ultimately Prosperous Business. And we taught that for a number of years, and then we added 2 more programs so that people could understand even more about some of the pieces to prosperity. And after we had done all of that, and we had been teaching for probably 12 or 13 years, and then we decided we wanted to put it into a book and make it available to more people. So that's how we got Money is an Energy Game. So it was basically combining all those programs together. And so we're really offering people a very broad breadth of the different pieces to prosperity. So most people by now have heard of the law of attraction and things of that nature. But that is a tiny one piece of a whole bunch of pieces. And it took us time for us to evolve to where we started discovering some of the other pieces that were missing. So some of the other things that we added in were related to how well you take care of yourself, because, hey, let's face it, your health is the foundation of your prosperity.
Yeah.
You won't have any prosperity without that. That's just the basic. And it turns...
It's the opposite way as well, isn't it? I was talking to a friend of mine who's become a millionaire yesterday, and he's suddenly become extremely healthy because of the money.
Oh, well, that helps, doesn't it? Yeah. That's one of the good reasons for having money is to be extra healthy. Yes, exactly.
So where does the energy come into it? And is it a game? Is it a game?
Well, everything that we can see, hear, touch, feel, everything in the universe is made up of energy. And money at its core is also made up of energy. I mean, if you look at anything, science has already gone through and said, oh yeah, everything that you can imagine is made up of energy. And it turns out that energy is attracted, or I should say, the energy of money is attracted to high energy. It's attracted to positive energy. And so when you're stressed out and you're angry or you're upset or you're exhausted or you didn't eat well and you're fuzzy headed and you didn't get exercise and you're not feeling that good, etc., or you had a bad conversation with your spouse or or you watched the news, that can do it too. When any of these different factors are impacting us in a negative way, our money is energetically running away from us.
So that's where I've been going wrong.
Well, I can't say that because I haven't known you long enough. But when we're stressed out, we're not attracting money to us. You can't be exhausted and go to work and expect to attract money. That does not work that way.
I'm getting that quite clearly now, and it's a good way of looking at it, because if your energy levels are depleted, in other words, your bank account is depleted.
That's right. That's exactly right. See, there's really no difference between your energy and your money. They're really the same. So one thing you can notice, have you ever seen how older people manage to lose their money as they lose their health? And they may not have lost it because of their health. They lose it because their energy goes low and a con artist comes along and takes their money.
Yes.
Or you see what happens, you see? And so it can leave in a lot of different ways. It's not necessarily one particular thing. It's just that energetically, they're no longer a match to the high level of money that they may have stored up.
I've got you now. Madeline, just before we move to part 2, I'd like to remind viewers and listeners of the book. Well, it's more of an entire and valuable guidebook, isn't it? You can see it on the screen behind me, the URL to go to, but let me just read that out for listeners. It is moneyisanenergygame.com. Moneyisanenergygame.com. Madeline, let's move to part 2. Sorry, if people are going to get the change and the value out of your guidebook, what do they need to do about getting ready to win at the game? What preparations necessary?
Well, one of the things we start people with is intention. So we first will ask people to think about what kinds of beliefs or cliches or how their parents talk to them about money. There are a lot of subconscious things that we have related to money. But when you are ready to move into prosperity, the first most important thing is to set an intention. And our book has a sacred prosperity commitment. And we ask people to read that commitment out loud, sign and date it, and to read it every day for at least a month, because we want it to become into their subconscious, not just, for 30 seconds a day or something like that. We want it to get in there where they will remember, this is my intention. I'm intending to create a life of prosperity. And it's really a process. So the second part is to release blockages. And PEG provides an excellent emotional freedom and healing release to anyone who buys the book. It's free with the book. And we actually charge $25 for that release on Polaris's site, on my site. So the book has a very high value with it. But the emotional freedom and healing release is designed to release negative emotions, patterns, beliefs, etc., out of your physical body. So it's bypassing the mind and it's physically releasing negative emotions and so forth out of the body so that you are putting out a higher vibration. You're no longer in fear all the time of not having enough money. And if you really look at it, it doesn't seem to matter whether you have money or you don't have money. Everyone's in fear.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people who have money are in fear of losing it, and people who don't have money are in fear of not getting it. You see, and so that whole thing has to go away, because the way energy works, the way money works, is that, and the way the universe works, is that you're always attracting to you whatever you're focused on. And if you're focused on not having money, that's what the universe delivers to you,
Yeah.
not having enough money. If you're focused on the fact that, oh, I might lose my money, then that's what the universe is going to deliver to you. You're going to lose it, see? And that's what happens to a lot of elderly people. They're afraid they're going to lose their money, and guess what? That's what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So 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 we have to release all these fears, because that really blocks everything. And you can't really attract money to you when you're in fear. That is the predominant energy that goes out. And that's one of the reasons why it doesn't usually work to just say, oh, thank you, universe, for providing my money. Because if you're in fear, that's going to negate it. You see?
Yeah. I resonate with that so well, Madeline, because many years ago, and I'm talking many, many years ago now, you can see from the grey hair there, I was frightened. I hated public speaking and, having to go out in crowds and everything. I was not used to it. And suddenly I was thrust into it, and the fear and the panic and everything like that. And I thought, I'm going to conquer this, I ended up one year talking to 400 people in San Antonio, teaching them how to sell, a Brit coming to America teaching Americans how to sell, and it's our power of positive thinking, isn't it?
Yes, it makes a huge difference. And part of that thinking is we have to be careful of what we tell other people. If we have a story every day about, oh, woe is me, what we're telling the universe is, send me more experiences so I can feel sorry for myself.
Yes.
That is not what you want.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You don't want to be repeating stories like that. You want to tell the universe or your friends, your colleagues, that, hey, I'm working on XYZ, and this is my goal, and I'm open to all these great possibilities coming to me, and blah, 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 And guess what? That's what's going to happen, you see. So there is a lot to it in terms of what you say and the words that you use. You see, you don't want to use words that, like, don't.
No. Yeah.
Or don't.
Don't use those words.
Yes, because the universe doesn't hear the word don't or not. It doesn't hear those words, you see.
Yeah. I'm totally with you there. Totally with you. Now, Madeline, it's nearly time to say goodbye, but just before we do, what are your two, my apologies there, what are your two favorite tools out of the many in this book?
Okay. My favorite tool of all is one from Esther Hicks. She did something called workshopping. And workshopping is, first of all, you want to get yourself into a feeling of high energy. You're happy. You're thinking about something great that happened to you. And then start thanking the universe for having already provided whatever it is you want. And you must use those words for having already provided. And the reason why is because not only are you affirming you lack it if you ask for something, but if you ask for something, you are telling the universe that you expect it to arrive in the future, but you will never arrive in the future. You're always here in the present moment. So you must thank the universe for having already provided it. And then start filling in the details of what it is that you want it to be like. You need some furniture, put in your order.
I got
then a lot of it is about trust, and you need to do this for a minimum of 17 seconds each time you do it, and do it for a total, or a minimum, I should say, of 68 seconds per day. So if you did it for 17 seconds, you do it 4 times a day. So you can do it at a stoplight while you're doing the dishes, or getting ready in the morning or whatever.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take much time, and it really, really works. It has never failed me ever. And I've gotten lots of things from it. Amazing things. Amazing.
Brilliant. And your other tool?
My other one, my other favorite one, of course, is astrology. I use Good Timing, and I put out my Good Timing guide every year. And so I want to make sure that when I'm going to do something important, it's going to be on a day when it's got a good final result. Maybe there's a money day, maybe it's good communications day, etc. So I'm going to be looking to do things at good times, and I'm going to avoid timeout periods because they happen 3 times a week. Maybe not during work hour, but sometimes they do. And if it's one of those times, nothing's going to come of it because there's nothing happening. There's no energy flow to create something to happen, you see.
Now, we're going to publish this interview, aren't we, at the right time? Because you kindly,
yes, we are.
You kindly did that, and it's firmly in the diary, viewers and listeners, and you'll have to watch out for that time. I'm not telling you because just in case everybody wants to jump on board and steal our energy.
Well, yeah, it's actually a great tool to use, and my last favorite tool is feng shui.
Yeah.
So not enough money, go clean up the wealth corners.
Right.
or declutter your house or your office or whatever, clean up your car, etc.
Yeah. I do believe that decluttering really does work. I did this in the studio the week there, and I suddenly came in and I felt a little bit more refreshed. Yeah.
You feel better, right?
Yeah. But the thing is, it's back to being cluttered again. So
it happens quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're going to have to be it. Madeline, I've thoroughly enjoyed coming across to Seattle to meet you. I'll be popping over to see Peg soon. And now let me say hello to Margaret Donahue, who's going to take us on the rest of our journey on the Money is an Energy game. Hello, Margaret.
Hello, Malcolm. It's really a pleasure to be here today.
Listen, we just had a quick little chat before we switched over, didn't we? And I'm in the real England, but you're in the where?
I'm in New England. Yes, I'm in New Hampshire. I'm in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. And, years ago, I visited the Lakes region of England, and it reminded me so much of New Hampshire, the Lakes region. Here.
Well, that's nice because that's my home area. That's where I come from originally.
It's a beautiful area, and it's a really lush area as well.
Yeah, and the
great energy.
Beauty of where we are up here, though, as I said to you, is that we can self-isolate so easily because it's just sheep and ruined castles.
That's right. That's right. And I live in an area that's not very densely populated either, so it's been great.
Yeah. Well, I was earlier in the day visiting your colleague Madeline I've called her Sleepless in Seattle because she is in Seattle and she doesn't start work till about midnight, I don't think, does she?
Yeah, well, sometimes it's much earlier in the morning.
Oh, right.
Sometimes she is going to bed as I'm getting up. We'll catch each other on that end. I'll say, "Are you still up from yesterday?" She said, "Yeah, just going to bed."
It sounds a wonderful and fun partnership, and it's been going on for about 27 years, I think she told me.
Yes, about 20 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. Yes, and we met really by telephone, actually. It was long before digital, all this digital
and now now obviously we're all digital, aren't we, Margaret?
That's
now,
right.
I've just point out something to people because just in case they think I've made a mistake, on the screen behind me is your other name that is often known by Peg. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah. I go by both.
Why?
Well, see, I was born Margaret Mary. My mother was Margaret Mary. Her mother was Margaret Mary.
Right.
And so, yes.
Yeah.
So
okay.
It's just a way to distinguish. Yeah.
Madeline got us started on our energy game, and now you're going to put the action energy into it. In part 3, we'll talk about playing the game, and in part 4, talk about keeping it going.
Sure.
And I'm also looking forward to hearing which 2 of your many tools you've selected. Hopefully not the same as Madeline's 2, but I've got to tell you, she's cheating. She was cheating. She chose 3 tools
Well, I'll stick to the rules and I'll give you 2.
Right.
Hopefully they are different.
Margaret, Madeline has brought us into the starting point of this game. And I found it really exciting because just suddenly talking to her, the penny definitely dropped as to what it was all about. For part 3 of this interview, how do we start taking action? In other words, playing the game.
Okay, that's a great question, Malcolm. First, you have to decide, well, you don't have to do anything, but we recommend that you decide what it is you want to do. Because I find in my own practice, many people are focused on what they don't want. Mm-hmm. And then I'll listen to all that. And then I'll say, okay, now you just told me what you don't want. What do you want? And they stand, stopped in their tracks. And then they say, I don't know. I don't know what I want. So we recommend that you really clarify what it is you want and just start simple. It might be.
So why do you think people say they start off by saying what they don't want? I mean, it seems a bit daft to me, that.
Well, it does seem a bit daft, but I think we have a lot of cultural training. If we look at the news, it's about all the bad things that happen. And I often say, whoever decided that the news is all the bad things in the world versus what, and then we put maybe 5 minutes of what, sometimes people call fluff. And I say that's the most important thing at the end. Why couldn't we have the majority of the programs be about all the good things that are happening in the world and then fill it in with some of the problems? But we focus on problems first. And when I was in business, I managed a number of teams and high-tech teams and all that. And I used to tell my teams that you can bring me any problem you want. You had also better come with a solution.
Right.
Dump whatever you want on my desk. Come with some recommendations. It may not be what we end up doing, but I want you to think through solutions. Be solutions-based. So that's what this book is about. It's solutions-based, and there's something in there for everybody. We have over 100 tips, tools, and techniques. So the game is an easy and fun way of putting these principles into practice, and you get to do it your way.
I quite like when I was talking to Madeline, and as I say, when the penny dropped about the law of attraction. And, I was just saying to my wife, who we've got a few little problems with one of our children, not, but an elderly, not an elderly daughter, 30-odd daughter, but I'm just sort of saying to her, don't worry about what's going on at the moment. She's just worried about COVID, the tests that she's got, and the children, and everything is a worry and a worry and a worry. And I thought Madeline was quite right at saying, if the more you worry, then the more, with the law of attraction, then the more you will attract the worry.
Right. It's whatever you're focusing on is what you are empowering. So give more power to what it is you want. Change those stories around so that they have a good ending, a positive ending, or an uplifting ending.
Right.
So that you're leading yourself and others in the direction towards something good and something fun and something light. Because whatever you're focused on, that's what you are giving more energy to.
I've got this now, definitely.
And it's a daily practice. And my daughter is, close to your daughter's age. She's 28, and she's actually getting very good at these skills. So I've told my wife, no more mornings, moaning. That's the thing, and let's stick to the positive law of attraction and positive energy. Just you wait until her mother comes next weekend. Right. Well, that's right. And there's also the tipping point. So just do when you notice you're in a negative mode, three times as many positive experiences as negative. So that's a way out of it.
I'm geared up, and I hope all viewers and listeners are. Now, by the way, just before we move into what is the final question, by the way, Margaret, I just want to remind viewers and listeners, and I've been doing it a couple of times there, the URL to go and get more information about the book, and it is Money is an
energy game. .com. Money is an energygame.com.
So have you written that down, listeners? Money is an energygame.com. And I've got to tell you, it really has clicked with me. That's it. Now, Margaret, for the final part of our interview, and to me, the vital part, keeping it going. Energy and money, as we all know, can easily drain away, all too easily. How do we keep the game going and keep reaping the benefits of what you and Madeline propose?
Well, you keep it going by putting these tools, tips, and practices into a place every day. Maintain what I would say a positive vibe towards life. Really, get up and expect that the day is going to go well. There might be some bumps along the way, but you want to build resilience. So through this, you can, through these practices, you can build resilience. And if something goes, wrong or not the way that you want, then get back up and try again, put it forward. So really maintaining a positive vibe throughout life, knowing that the final result is going to be okay. We're all going to be okay. Look at this, a year later into, this new world area, we're all, coming out. Yeah. And a lot of good is coming out of it as well. There's more cooperation, more sharing. I think people have realized how valuable their time is and how precious it is to spend our time with people that we love and doing things that we really want to do, and let go of all the things that don't matter. So maintaining a positive vibe, knowing that everything's going to be okay, and putting your best foot forward every day. Be kind to others, be patient, be flexible. And have fun along the way. That's a big part of it.
I totally agree with that one. Without a doubt, I'm always a half full person. But I know I'm this naughty me, but I want to squeeze a little extra question in with you, because I know you're an expert on feng shui and
feng shui.
Feng shui, yes. And I was saying to Madeline this morning that I tidied up my studio a couple of weeks ago, and I was reading
Terrific.
that, and I felt really much more the better vibes. But guess what? It's a bit messy again.
Sure, that happens, and so this is something that we have to keep up with, regularly. So maybe once a week, really whip your office into shape.
Yeah,
tidy up your desk. Clean it up. Empty the trash, and just have things around that you really love and use. And I'll tell you, a tip for you and your listeners. There's a symbolic map that we place over spaces. And it's like a tic-tac-toe board, a grid of 9. So that back left corner is what we call the prosperity corner, the wealth corner. So that's a great area to make sure that it's clutter-free. It's in great shape. You can put a reminder of prosperity back there, or something that raises the energy of the space, but keep that in great space, in great shape.
How do I find that corner?
You find it from the entrance. So however you come into your, in this case, your office, or it might be your home. So you're standing at the door and you look to the farthest left corner of your space from the entryway.
Okay. So it's immediately to your left, furthest to your left.
Furthest to the left in the rear.
Right.
So it's like diagonally opposite from, where you are. Like if you're in the center, it would be what I would call the upper left corner.
Okay. So that's where my router is. So should I move that?
Oh, that's where your router is. And so, no, you can keep it there, but you could put something. So, that's energizing your business. Think of it that way. But, if there's papers around there or clutter around there, remove that. But you could put a plant by your router. That would be something nice, a nice lively green plant.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great idea. And there are pictures there next to it of our 2 daughters and our 4 grandchildren. So yes.
That's awesome. So there's your wealth. Your wealth is in your family.
Without a doubt.
Absolutely.
I totally believe that.
Sure.
Now, Margaret, just before you start to leave us and we leave New England for proper England, real England.
I love the real England.
Yeah. Can you please select and tell us about your 2 favorite tools from the many that's in the Money is an Energy Game?
Okay, well, one we had a preview of. My favorite tool is using feng shui principles. So feng shui is the practice of aligning your space, your home, your business, wherever you are, with what it is you want, because the premise is that your space is a mirror. The energy in your space is a mirror of your inner self. So if you don't want to practice the tools, tips, and techniques in the book, just work with your house or your business. Keep it in tip-top shape. The first thing is get rid of clutter, get rid of dust, keep your windows and electric and plumbing, keep those all in great shape. And sometimes you may not be in a position to actually make the repairs that you want. That might be part of the problem. I don't have the money. And what I say is stay away from the don'ts. I don't have this or I don't have that. Just put it on the list. Put it on the list with the intention of getting it done, and then visualize that money coming in. And maybe a great repair person will come to you. Maybe somebody will do it as a favor. You never know. So the first thing I like to do is really work with my space and keep it really nice and keep it really energized. The second tool I like to do is I journal a lot. So when I'm journaling, I write down. Writing is very powerful. I learned this years ago. And I'm a prolific writer. I write things down. I write lists down because I realized that it gets imprinted in my brain. And when I write it down, I don't have to remember it. And so I write things down, but my technique is to give thanks in advance for something already having happened. And in the book, I have my daily focus list. It's a revision of a to-do list. It's a one-page list I call my daily focus. And I have on that room to write 6 statements of gratitude. I do that every day for myself. I also have a column for what I'm going to do today. You were at the top of it today. And then I have a column for, I'm thanking the universe for. So between thanking the universe for and writing my statements of gratitude is very powerful technique to keep energy flowing and keep things moving.
Yeah, I suppose in a way, I do that in my own little way, because I open my bedroom curtains in the morning, and I look out over a beautiful fields here in Northumberland.
That is awesome. Yes.
And in the distance, I can just see the planes landing when they're flying, and there's a train line and everything. And I can watch the birds and everything. And sometimes the deer are walking across the.
Oh, I love that. And watch where the animals go, because that is land with good chi, good energy.
Yeah.
The deer, the cattle. Awesome.
Yeah, and my wife's bedroom, she looks out to the front, and she has got a huge amount of birds in all the trees and everything.
Oh, that's great.
And
that's great.
But
that's abundance right there.
Yeah, yes. It does start the day well, doesn't it? Rather than
it sure does.
Yeah, that person has sort of puts the alarm on 5 minutes before they're supposed to be out of the house,
And that adds a little bit of extra stress every day.
Yeah,
it really does when you do that.
Yeah, and of course she insists I take her a pot of tea, because that helps the.
Well, that's a nice thing to do.
That helps it last longer,
Yes, that's a very nice thing to do. It sure does.
If I don't, I'm feng shuied for the rest of the day, I tell you.
But you can turn it around. You can set some good intentions and put your knowledge out that would put it to work, that she's really appreciating all you're doing. So you can do that silently, and that works. It really works wonders. So you don't have to tell anyone else what to do. You put it forward quietly and silently.
Yeah.
And as if it's already happened.
I think there's so much that you and Madeline are putting out within Money as an Energy Again. I know you've got hundreds of tools and everything there, but it's not just about business, is it?
Not at all.
I felt very much about the relationship. And I think that's really, really important, particularly for those people who are starting a business now, because if you don't start it in the right way, in the right thinking, what you'll do is you'll spend all your time in the business rather than taking the time to reflect and as you're saying, thank you, make the thank yous and everything. Right. Do you feel that?
I absolutely do. It's really about living a good life. So living a good life is living a whole life. So yes, business and work is part of it, but there's so much more to life. It's about having great health. It's good families and friends and social connections. And that we really learned, over the past year as well, how important that is. It's about doing charitable works, doing good for others. The more you do for others, the more that comes back to you.
Yeah.
So it's really about living a well-rounded life.
Yeah.
If you just focused on work and business, that's very one-sided.
Yes. Yeah. We call it here in the UK, putting back into the pot.
Absolutely.
You benefit the pot, put it back in.
Absolutely.
I started this BBTV show by talking about the likely financial concerns that many people in many parts of the world will have at this moment. I wanted to find hope, answers, and yes, a charging point for you to re-energize your money. I trust you feel, like me, that Madeline Gerwick and Margaret Donahue, authors of Money is an Energy Game, have got you plugged in and ready to get fully charged. Thanks, Margaret.
Well, thank you, Malcolm. It's really a pleasure speaking with you today.